has absolutely nothing in common with black men. She has nothing in common with black men. She lives an utterly white life. She's graduated from some white college or white university. She's gone into the white professional world. She lives in a white neighborhood. Her dominant interactions are primarily with other white people or other white adjacent people, POC, people of color. Those populations represent who she comes in contact with. Oh, and I can't forget, she only interacts with her gender. She only interacts with the sisterhood. Her circle, her conversation partners, the people who she talks to about politics and ideology, they look just like her. There are no black men in her world. There are no black men in her world. And what I mean by that is that her everyday lived experience is fundamentally removed from the lives, the circumstances, the concerns, the problems, and the basic conditions that black men live in and black men experience, black men endure. She lives in a completely different world. But when she gets on Twitter, when she gets on Facebook, when she's on TikTok, when she's out here, every time a black man is lynched by the police, and she's out here with a bullhorn, and she's out here with a placard that says BLM, she wants you to think, and she wants the world to think, that somehow or another she has some tied, linked fate with black men. And the reality is that she doesn't. The reality is that she lives in a world, in a universe that does not include black men. And we can go further than her professional associations. We can go further than the college campus. We can look at the black household. And we can look at who leads the household. We can look at who is in the household. And when we look at who is in the household, the black household, the majority of black households, which are not led by men and women as equal partners, as co-power holders in a household. We're talking about the majority of black households where you only find women and girls and little boys who are subject to the authority, to the power, to the will, to the interest, to everything related to women. If it's not a woman-led household that involves a mother, it's a grandmother, it's an aunt, it's a big sister, it's an older cousin, it's an older niece, it's whatever, women run it. And men are fundamentally marginal. Men are fundamentally in the back, in the room, in the basement, if they are there at all, if they have not been completely driven away. So you have to ask yourself, when it comes down, when it's time to have Thanksgiving dinner, when it's time for Christmas dinner, when it's time for New Year's celebrations, when it's time for any type of major gathering at any time of the year, you have to ask yourself, where are the black men? Where are the black men? Because most of the people who show up are women. She lives in a different universe, in the twilight zone, where black men cannot be found. And we have to scrutinize everything that she says about black men. We have to put everything under a microscope, regardless of how old she is, 25, 30, 35, 45, 50, 60 years old. And we cannot allow them to continue to push this narrative of expertise, this idea somehow or another that she is the authority, she is the one with all the knowledge when it comes down to black men. The idea that she knows everything there is to know about the black male situation in the United States. The idea that she is a fundamental authority, and she is not. And she is not an authority because she lives a completely different life. She lives in the world removed from black men. She has absolutely nothing in common with black men.